It is that time of the year, International Fight Week in Las Vegas, and it's headlined by UFC 317. We've got two title fights, one of them for the vacant lightweight championship, the other with the flyweight title on the line, Pantoja versus Cara France. We're going to be talking about it all from a gambling perspective. Hello, everybody. Brett Okamoto alongside Ian Parker. That is Joe Fortenbaugh hopping on because it's a big card here in Las Vegas. We're going to be talking about it. The main card, we got your props, we got your parlays, we got everything coming up here in just a second. But before we do, we will recap how we did at UFC Fight Night in Baku, Azerbaijan. How did we do at the window, Mr. Parker?
Well, we were doing great until Ignacy Bahamondes no-showed on me in my premium play. Otherwise, we hit parking over 1.5 rounds. That's a guy that knows how to cover with no eyes, illegal shots, you name it. Round trip for the 2 units play. We hit our parlay for the second week in a row. We hit our prop. Ulam back up with by decision. Let's go on to this week. It's IFW. Let's go.
Yes, it is IFW. We're going to be giving you double the action because we got Joe up here gracing us with not only his wardrobe, but his picks and his intel as well. Let's talk about the main event. You see it right there. I can't wait for this, guys. Ilia Topuria taking on Charles Oliveira for the vacant strap because Islam Makhachev has moved up, and it is a big-time discrepancy in the betting line. You got Ilia Topuria minus 450, Charles Oliveira plus 325. You see this line has moved. It was Topuria opening pretty sizable favorite, 3-1, but now he's jumped all the way up. At one point in earlier in June, all the way up to minus 550. You think we would have learned our lesson by now betting against Charles Oliveira in these title fights, but apparently not, because he is coming in as a big underdog. Are you thinking about taking Charles Oliveira on Saturday?
I'm not. You know what? It's not that I don't think he has a shot here. You know, the size is going to be there. The range is there. We know he's got jiu-jitsu, but that chin scares me. He gets dropped often. But we've seen he's come back. He's really just... He's gotten a lot better with what he needs to do. He took shots from Michael Chandler, who is bigger, stronger, and I can't get out of my head when Jai Herbert floored Ilia Topuria, and Ilia Topuria had to come back. So we're going to go a little different here. This may surprise some people. I'm going to go over 1.5 rounds. I think Charles Oliveira is good enough to make it 7.5 minutes before he gets sent to the place where time does not exist, Joe. And for me, I got to think he's prepared for this. You know that overhand right and that hook from Topuria. He's got a similar body type to Max Holloway. You know, he's had to watch tape. This is a title fight. Oliveira, this may be his last shot at gold, and he's getting against someone who he's double the size of. Over 1.5 rounds for me.
Completely agree. One of the primary jobs we have betting sports is to find markets that are mispriced. I think this is a market that's mispriced. 1.5 rounds, juiced the way it is. It's basically telling you, look, we know Ilia Topuria. He's a knockout phenom. We've seen it throughout history. So why isn't it going to happen again, right? IFW, a lot of people want to bet this under. Here's the thing. Yeah, he knocks everybody out, but it takes some time. Holloway, Volk, Emmett, and Mitchell. Each of the last 4 fights went over 1.5 rounds, and that was at a lower weight class. Now he's stepping up a guy with a 74-inch reach. What's the key here? Establish the jab. Holloway did it. Volkanovski did it. It's not going to be something you can do for 25 minutes to avoid Topuria, but it is something you can do for at least 7.5 minutes. And I think that's how you play Topuria as well if you don't want to lay the big price. You tie it in with a parlay going over 1.5 rounds. You shrink the number, you give yourself less risk.
All right, so there's some good analysis there on why we're taking the over 1.5 rounds. I told you already this was a special card. Look how special, even Stephen A. Smith is getting in on the action at UFC 317, and he thinks that we're overlooking Charles Oliveira. Your buddy, Joe, Stephen A., he is taking Charles Oliveira not just to win, but to win by knockout or submission, and you can get that at a special price on ESPN Bet. Instead of plus 450, you get it at plus 525. What do you think of Stephen A. there?
Can the man take 5 minutes off and let us live? Like, can we cook for 5 minutes, Stephen A.? You're on vacation. The finals are over. But it's interesting. Look, the value on Oliveira, think about it like this. When he fought Islam Makhachev, plus 180. Now that's almost doubled going up against a guy who's stepping up in weight class. I don't like Oliveira to win the fight, but pricing-wise, that's where the value would be.
Yeah, pricing-wise, it's not a bad look. But yeah, Ilia Topuria is on a heck of a run, and he is a very, very smart fighter. But therein lies the intrigue, and Charles Oliveira has a knack for these magical moments in these lightweight title fights. We will see in the main event of UFC 317. How about the co-main event? Alexandre Pantoja taking on Cara France. I'll be honest, guys, I think that this is a tricky one it's laid out so that everyone's kind of, I think, overlooking Cara France. They're kind of saying that, like, he wasn't the most obvious title challenger. It was one of those situations where we knew exactly that this guy was going to be next. And I think some people are overlooking him a little bit at plus 190. What do you think? Am I on anything on that, or do you like the champion here, Ian?
Well, I think Well, you know, I love you to pieces. I think you're right, and you're right, if that makes any sense. I do think Kai France does present challenges. He's got great takedown defense. He's got crazy power for 125, and he's probably the better technical striker. Here's where I think he loses, is because I think Pantoja is just so good at what he does. His jiu-jitsu is world class, the durability, the cardio, and his striking has gotten a lot better too. And he pushes the pace and he finds ways to take the back, and he doesn't always need to go for the submission. He's smart. He just doesn't make mistakes against Kai Asakura. You and I sat there, we talked about this. We said, oh, everyone thinks Asakura is gonna be the guy to go knock him out. I'm sitting there going, do you think Pantoja's never fought a good striker before? So even though Kai France has all that ability, I just think Pantoja is on a different level at this point in his career. So giving him to win by either sub or decision at -155, knocking that number down, I just don't see him losing anytime soon.
I'm with you on the Pantoja side, but I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up your point, because you're not the only one that thinks that way about Kai France. The price got up as high at some shops, -275. It's down to 235. Like, that's happening for a reason, and I don't think the public is coming in on the dog here. That said, you've got a champion riding a 7-fight win streak who's got the championship round experience. 5-round fights, Pantoja's 3-0, France 0-1. Now, that loss was to Albazi, and a lot of people think that should have gone the other way,
sure,
but it's at least worth mentioning. Ultimately, what I want are fighters that have multiple paths to victory. I think that's what Pantoja gives me. But again, higher price, so what do? Classic Ian Parker special. Parlay it together with over 1.5 rounds. You bring it into the -115-ish range, something like that. You give yourself a better price with a really good fighter.
There you go. So, but maybe if you are thinking on the Cara France, like he mentioned, this line is moving around a little bit. And as everybody's parlays and everything else comes in, if you can get a higher price on Cara France, maybe it'll be there for you if you're interested in taking that side. Let's move on to the premium play that these guys have, and it happens in the bantamweight division in what should be a very, very exciting fight. Peyton Talbot versus Felipe Lima. What do you got here on this 135er?
So this is a combination. There's a lot of people that are writing off Peyton Talbot, and I'm not saying he's done per se, but when you come off a loss the way you did to Rahani Barcelos, where you got taken down repeatedly, your striking was a non-factor, and you just looked completely out of your element, you want to bounce back. But you're going to try to bounce back against someone in Felipe Lima who is really good on the ground, really aggressive, better striking. I just think Lima is a much better fighter and stylistically a terrible matchup for Peyton Talbot. This is going to be my premium play. That number's come down a little bit, which I'm surprised at, because Talbot's still skilled. He's got the hands. I think Lima's better than him everywhere. I think he gets done pretty easy.
I was listening to Kenny Florian break this down, and I think he made one of the best notes imaginable, which is what adds on to what Ian was saying and why you end up backing Lima in this fight. Grappling is not something you can improve upon in just 5 months' time.
Correct.
When you watch an individual like Talbot, who had all that height, get taken down over and over and over again by Barcelos, and then the matchmakers throw him in there 5 months later with another good grappler, you can improve. I don't think you can improve dramatically to the point where you're going to overcome those deficiencies and win this fight. Interesting where the market is on this. We saw Lima get as high as -200. That's where the Talbot money came in, and it's pushed it down to around -180. I'm with Ian. I like Lima here.
Yeah, you know, sometimes you don't want to you don't want to go against the guy after a loss unless you believe that the blueprint was made and then it can be repeatable in this next fight. So both of our guys on Felipe Lima there, and the opener of the main card at UFC 317. We got to get Joe out of here. I mean, he's talking about how busy Stephen A is. I mean, this guy is coming in right there at second place, all over the television screen. But before we do, he's got his parlay here for UFC 317. Where are we going with the parlay, Joe?
Take your 9-iron out, swing it easy from 130. That's what this is. It's all 5 fights on the main card. It's a low bet to make 8-1 on this. Basically, you're now ending up with all 5 favorites now that the Dariush line is completely swung from +135 to around -110, but we got it at a better price for the parlay, so 8-1. It gives you a little action on every single fight on the main card.
I'll pull the 9-iron on the tee box of a par 5 if I have to, man, because like you said, swing it easy and the results will be good. Thank you so much.
I knew the audience I was playing to at that comment.
That was for me, and I knew it, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Joe. I know you're a busy guy. Your intel is always appreciated on the show. We appreciate it. And yeah, next time we're looking for a big UFC pay-per-view. I'm sure you'll be up there on the desk with us at UFC Best Bets. Ian, let's move on with the rest of your premium plays. And for that, we will go to the middleweight division. It's the featured prelim on the ESPN and ESPN Plus prelims. Where are we going for that?
Well, we haven't seen Jack Hermanson in a while since he beat Joe Pyfer, but we're catching Gregory Rodriguez at over 1.5 rounds from -235 to +115. RoboCop, let's go.
All right, moving right on to the featherweight division. It's Hyder Emil taking on Jose Miguel Delgado. How are you looking to play this one?
These guys are going to steal the night. This may be fight of the night. I'm going to go over 1.5 rounds here. Emil has shown great durability. Here's what I like to call fun, hectic chaos. Delgado, unbelievable striker. I think if it ends at the end of the second round. Let's hit that over 1.5.
And that rounds up our best bets, but you got a prop on this card as well. And for that, we go to the welterweight division, correct?
Yeah, listen, Jacoby, this kid is good. He's fighting someone, Nico Price, who, listen, I like Nico, but I think we know what's going to happen here. Round 1, TKO or KO. Jacoby Smith just keeps it going, and it's minus 110 for a round 1 knockout. We're going to ride this prospect all the way as far as we can.
Okay, so we got your best bets. We got our prop of the night. We got all of those picks. Let's get to the parlays for this International Fight Week here at the end of June. Where are we going for the long shot parlay first, Ian?
Yeah, we're going to go with Yunana Diniz to win by KO or TKO. I can't believe that's only minus 170. That should be way higher. Give me Terrence McKinney by sub, and give me Josh Van to beat Royval by decision.
There you go, risking a quarter of a unit. We're getting back about 14 to 1 odds on that. How about parlay for UFC 317?
Let's get another one going with this one. A little chalky, but we got better odds than expected here. Diniz, Moicano Dariush over 1.5. Royval and Van over 1.5, plus 120. I think that's as safe as it gets with 3-legger. I like it.
Does not get much better in the main event. Charles Oliveira taking on Ilia Topuria. Of course, Ilia Topuria getting a lot of love coming into this one, but we have doubted Charles Oliveira before. We have lost money doing so, so do so at your own risk at UFC 317. Thanks so much for catching UFC Best Bets. We will be right back with you in the month of July, but we're finishing off June strong. Topuria versus Oliveira, ESPN Plus. Enjoy the fights, and we will see you next time on UFC Best Bets.